What's up everybody, Matt Nuzzo hanging out here in the backyard at Rio, and today we're going to go over edit number 3 of 3 for the Armstrong A Wing XPS. So we broke this down into 3 videos. We got the on-water review, we've got the design specs and design briefing, and then we've got the materials game. So when Armstrong set out to make this new A Wing, he was like dead set on making an Alula or Hokipa / UPE leading edge and frame material, because that stuff's really stiff, and he was like, I want to make the lightest wing possible, the stiffest wing possible. And so they started just testing all sorts of materials. They took 2 years to design this wing. They had 60 different design samples, which had multiple sizes, and then they had 40 different material samples, which had multiple sizes. So they were testing the hell out of different materials, wings, and how to make these the best wing possible that they could make. So they actually ended up on traditional Dacron to traditional ripstop for the materials, because in the design spec and in the design test process, they found that a lot of these materials had faults that they weren't really happy with. So we're going to start with the leading edge material, because everyone's obsessed with Alula and Hokipa, okay? So we'll start with Alula. Alula, they found that was really super stiff and rigid, which they loved for the lightweight and the rigidity, but it did break down faster, particularly where the strut hits in the leading edge. Over time it broke down, and broke down quite a bit faster than traditional Dacron. It did have really nice rip capabilities, so like it was really strong from puncture, but over time in those wear areas it did break down pretty quickly. Also, it's significantly more expensive, so they were like, well, we can make a wing that's $500 to $800 more, but we should, just because that's the material. And in testing them back to back, once they got to the final design spec, testing Alula to the Dacron wing, the Dacron wing being about a ½ pound heavier than the Alula, it also had more natural flex and give. So with the Alula, they said for the standard sizes, they've said the flex of the traditional materials that they're using in the design they're using had a much easier ride, whereas Alula was really jumpy. And that's what I found with a lot of Alula wings, is like, particularly in that smaller mid-size range, really jumpy. Whereas they say, Army's like, hey, and if you're going to go like 7 meter plus, maybe that's the right idea to go with Alula, because it's super lightweight, you've got less wear on it. But in the traditionals, they actually just like the feel of the Dacron better than Alula. Or Hokipa, North's also using it in N-weave, so it's called UPE, and that material was really interesting to them because it did have that nice durability. What they found is that the material didn't lay quite straight, so they were getting a lot of twists in construction. Using it for construction, they were getting a lot of twists in the wingtips. They were not getting the consistency that you wanted to get out of traditional Dacron. They did find that the wear characteristics, like it was really durable, so they did use the UPE on all the bumpers, on all the skids down here, and they replaced what they used to have Dacron with the UPE, because with this UPE it's super durable and also sucks up less weight. Also the batten pockets, so it's really lightweight, it's really stiff, but really durable. That's what they really found in it. They did find though that the seam, the leading edge seam, on the UPE was extremely strong. So the seam work on it, when you sew it up together, it was super strong and durable, which they really liked. But they just said, hey, the inconsistency of how it lays out to get the proper curve for the leading edge and the strut was too hard to work with to get that consistency. As well, you're increasing the cost for a feel that they didn't really notice much of a feel improvement from UPE from traditional Dacron. So the Dacron that they decided on was a 160 gram Dacron for the leading edge, and then the inside of it was the 130. So inside, and also attachment panels like this here is at 130. Inside, they've got a double leading edge, so the interior is 160 on the outside, 130 on the inside, and then across the seam, there's the 130, which made it extremely strong. So this 130 is what they're using in the Duotone SLS, which is nice and lightweight, but it's also under tension, like on a tube here, it's very susceptible to cracking. So under load, you hit that thing with your foil, the thing is just gonna shatter and pop like a shotgun. So they said that's not really gonna be what we want for longevity out of the leading edge. So, but we did find that sewing it on the back side, instead of just doing Dacron tape, they use this 130 on the inside, on the top panel here, and across all the seams, and they found that it was extremely strong. Actually, the seams were stronger than what they were getting out of the UPE or Hokipa material. So they found a way to, with this construction, to use some of these materials that they were testing in ways that are actually building out and making this wing work better. With the canopy, they tried X-ply and a bunch of other different type of ripstop material. And they found this traditional high-end, high-grade ripstop material. It's a triple weave ripstop material, really lightweight, really strong, and durable, right? It works every time, and it works consistently. So what they ended up with is the lightest Dacron wing on the market that has tons of rigidity based on the construction of what they were able to create, with lots of longevity. So this wing is going to last you a long time. And then tied in with the cross panel sail design and some of the other design specs, and what you end up having is a wing is going to perform at the top level, be user friendly and easy to use, because some of those other materials, they're not that user friendly because you feel everything when you're out there winging. And you know, having ridden this 4 meter, I rode this 4 meter the other day. It started at 20 to 30, which is fun for that range. And then it went from 30 to 40, and about 45 I got blown off the water, but I was still riding this thing, and it had, you know, it could handle those crazy angry gusts, as I was calling them. It could handle those type of conditions with the standard materials. So Armstrong ended up on a wing that is going to be affordable, but also last you a long time and feel great while you're riding. If you have more questions, want to check out our other reviews, go to realwatersports.com or give us a shot at the shop. 252-987-6000. See you guys on the water.